Okay, I'd like to bring this meeting to order. The Village of Villa Park Board of Trustees, September 26th, 2022. Clerk Konecki, please call the roll.
Trustee Salella.
Here.
Trustee Corkery.
Here.
Trustee Kozar.
Here.
Trustee Kumar. Here. Trustee Murphy. Here. Trustee Patrick.
Here.
President Kazone.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then please remain standing. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening. May we have meaningful discussions that will help us to assist our village in these trying times. Help us to make the decisions that will affect the staff, directors, and residents of Villa Park. Guide us through the challenges we face, and may we approach each other with respect and kindness as one group. In your name, amen. Amen. Okay, item number 3 on our agenda will be a presentation by the Community Fund Commission, their annual landscape awards.
Bear with me. Hi, my name is Mary Brenner Hines, and this is Kathy Halloran, and we're from the Community Fund Commission. Every year we go around looking for houses that we find are very pretty and unique. This one is at, this is the, let me read this, Bauer-Freund family, and that's on 530 Wildwood Avenue. And the picture's kind of hard because there's a big tree back there that's all shadowy. But they have some beautiful pots on the front, and this is hard for me, and also some beautiful pots in the front. And that's really what caught our eye, besides the architecture and that. Those are the beautiful pots in the front, and they've been there for months. So they take care of them, and the little plants are like growing out into the sidewalk. So we voted this as, this is our yin. This is very architectural and mown and very clean and tidy. So they also, with their award, they get a pizza from Michael Anthony's. So we'll have to get that to them because I don't think anybody showed up for this wonderful presentation. Now the second house, this can be a little work because these pictures are kind of tiny. This is the Yang. This is very organic. They had, this is at, let me tell you the address here, 245 East Highland. This is the Fosnaut House. They have, you see the corn there. It's the tallest corn I've ever seen. It has to be 10, 12 feet tall corn. They have, half of their yard is a pumpkin patch. And they've started to pull the pumpkins even in August to decorate. They have, along the side fence, they have a little pond on one side. This is, there's the pumpkin patch. They have a fence, and it's got little pots all along the side of the fence. So they put little flowers, and that goes for maybe 30 feet on the fence. And there's the pond. So that's very organic, very butterfly, very natural. So we've got one from each kind. And that's pretty much the presentation, since nobody's here to get to it. They get a pizza, so pizza's worth it. So, he is here. Oh, are you here? Okay. So congratulations.
Oh, get it.
One, two, three. Picture time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make one more thing before I left. This is the end of our oldest tree, and tomorrow at our meeting, we'll gather all that information. I did hear on the news today that in Chile, the scientists have found what they think is the oldest tree in the world, and it is 5,500 years old. So I do not think we're going to beat that. But everyone's interested in trees now. So
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. That's old. Okay, wait, item number 4, public comments on agenda items. Do we have anyone signed up?
I'm not sure if that was an agenda item. Was that none? Okay, no agenda items.
No,
Thank
no one
you,
on the
Chief.
agenda. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we will go to amendments to the agenda. Any amendments by the board? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go to the consent agenda. The minutes from September 12th, 2022, Committee of the Whole meeting, and September 12th, 2022, the regular meeting of the Village Board. And item 6B, the bill listing for the weeks of September 12th, 2022, and September 19th, 2022, in the amount of $827,902.92. We have a motion for the agenda here.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Corkery, do we have a second? Trustee Kumar? Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Konecki.
Okay, Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Sillella.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy. Yes. Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Corkery.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
President Kazal.
Yes. Okay, item 7A is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, Dupage County, Illinois, authorizing Halloween trick-or-treat hours. Manager Harlan.
Annually, the village passes by resolution a time and date for children to participate in Halloween trick-or-treat activities. By adopting this resolution, a uniform time is established for the event, therefore allowing the police department to increase patrols for the purpose of protecting the children who are participating in the Halloween festivities. It is recommended the village board approve the official trick-or-treat hours of 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Monday, October 31, 2022.
Thank you. And just anyone that had pulled an agenda up, there was a typo there. It said October 31st, previously 2021. So, but it is 31st, 2022. Okay. We have a motion for the ordinance. Trustee Patrick,
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
we have a second. Trustee Kumar?
I will second that motion.
Okay, any questions or comments? Trustee Murphy?
Yes, I would just like to make note of resident input that I received requesting that trick-or-treat hours be shortened and not go past 7 p.m. So I revisited what we were looking at and why we had chosen 3 to 8, and we moved it 3 to 8 because it was a weekend. I appreciate the fact and looked up in Elmhurst is having theirs from 3:30 to 7. 5 hours is a long time on a school day and a work night, and we've got a lot of people working at home, so I appreciate the input that I received. Personally, I don't have any children and I don't work at home, so I have no personal stake in it, but I'm willing to request that the board modify the hours slightly and consider either a 3:30 or 4 start time. And we did want to leave the end time a little bit after dark. Sun goes down at 6:45. I would propose a 7:30 end time. So if anyone's amenable to a slight revision to those hours, I'm sure the residents that provided input would appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Kumar?
Since it's a school day, I kind of feel 3:30 is fine to start a little later, just because the kids don't even get home from school usually till 3:30. So that part I'm okay with. I would still leave it 8 o'clock, mainly because of that. They don't get home, they got to get dressed, and then they got to get out, and sometimes they have to wait for parents to come home. A lot of people have gone back to work. Not everybody gets the opportunity to work from home.
Okay. Any other discussions? Okay, we can make a motion, if someone wants to make a motion to change the times, we could do that.
I'll make a
Trustee Kumar.
motion to change the times from 3:30 to 8.
Okay. Do we have a second on that motion?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, seeing no second, then I guess we'll vote on it as from 3 to 8.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, okay, so we already had the motion on this. Any other discussion? Okay, Clerk Konecki.
Okay, Trustee Corkery.
Yes.
Trustee Sillella.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
No.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
President Kazal.
Yes. Okay, item 7B is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park authorizing the execution of the Community Development Block Grant Agreement for funding of the Michigan and Vermont Improvement Project. Manager Harlan.
Staff wishes to execute the Community Development Block Grant Agreement for grant funding for the construction of Michigan and Vermont Improvement Project. The project consists of water main replacement and street improvements on North Michigan Avenue from Vermont to Plymouth Street, and water main replacement on West Vermont from Wisconsin Avenue to Michigan Avenue. The estimated total cost of the construction project is $620,000, of which $600,000 will be paid for with the awarded grant. Funding for the village's share of the project cost would be provided by the street improvement, water supply, and wastewater funds. The village Board of Trustees has already approved the application to allowed the staff to make the application. We're asking you now to accept the grant and dedicate the extra $20,000 in funds.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion on the resolution? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, trustee Solella?
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, clerk Krenicki, please.
Okay, trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Murphy,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Salella.
Yes.
Trustee Corkery,
Yes.
President Kazal.
Yes. Item 7C is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, designating officers for Freedom of Information Act and Open Meetings Act purposes. Manager Harline.
The Illinois Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA as it's sometimes called, requires each public body to designate one or more employees or officials to act as its FOIA officer or officers. Due to changes in personnel, the village must update its current FOIA officers to include Cheryl Wagner, our new executive assistant to the village manager, along with Suzanne McVeigh, who is our assistant village manager, and who was previously designated as FOIA officer. We also recommend that Tracy Weiseglad, close enough, records supervisor, and Laura Narozny.
Yes.
All right, I should have practiced those. Records clerk as FOIA officers for the police department. Additionally, this resolution names the assistant city manager, a village manager, McVeigh as Open Meetings Act designee as required by 5 Illinois CS 120/1.05, subparagraph A. Staff recommends approval of this resolution, and we prefer to have somebody in the police department as a designated FOIA officer because they have direct requests, and this makes it much more efficient.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion on the resolution? Trustee Kumar?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Corkery? Okay, any questions or comments? Seeing none, clerk Krenicki, please.
Trustee Salella.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Corkery.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
President Kazal.
Yes. Item 7D, it's a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending Village of Villa Park Resolution Number 2134, entitled Resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, for services relating to the evaluation of a new tax increment financing district, and approving an amendment to the proposal of Tesca Associates, Inc., approved therein. Manager Harline.
The village approved Resolution 2134 on January 10th of 2022, engaging Tesca Associates, Inc. to conduct an eligibility study and create a redevelopment plan for a proposed TIF district. Recently, the village identified an additional area, Rotary Park, to be considered. Including Rotary Park would provide another opportunity to address long-term flooding issues in that area. As a result of adding this area, the board needs to amend Resolution 2134. This follows along exactly what was described at the Committee of the Whole meeting by Director Burke, and staff urges passage of the resolution.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Solella?
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or comments? Trustee Kumar?
I'm just very happy that they are including Rotary Park. Anything you can do to mitigate any kind of flooding in Villa Park is definitely appreciated, having lived through that.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, any other comments? Okay, Clerk Krenicki, please.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Corkery.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Salella.
Yes.
President Kazal.
Yes. Okay, go on to item 8, public comments on non-agenda items. And I believe we do have somebody signed
Well,
up
the
here.
first one. The first one is Reed Goodrich is the first one.
We're in the midst of a nice off.
Yeah.
And this was regarding Hawthorne and parking issues.
I just want to share a few of my observations over the summer regarding questions I've had with the new parking lot that Hawthorne's been putting up there near the train station. Because when I started asking questions last summer and called the village to find out, who could answer the questions, and the initial response was, it's not me, it's somebody else. And then I finally got a couple of guys in engineering who would talk to me, and then discovered, still at this time they were unfamiliar with some of the terms that I was asking about, regarding paving and fencing, and the fact that some of that, 8-foot fence and water permeable paving, which was disappointing. Then another question regarding landscaping came up about how they're going to do the landscaping around the thing, and I was told then that I needed to talk to someone by the name of Ellen. Well, and she's supposed to be filling in for a position that was, temporarily open, but my understanding is, she rarely, if ever, showed up. And she was known as working from home. Okay. Well, I don't know the circumstances of that, but it sounds like a pretty sweet deal, and I never got my question answered about what the landscaping was all about. Okay, now I understand her tenure has ended, but I don't know what she was doing, but I couldn't prove anything. Then I have a later question about the fence that's next to my yard, but is on what currently is Hawthorne's property by a couple of inches, but that's enough. Okay, because there's going to be a new fence that's going to go up there, and my question became, you're going to take out the old fence, aren't you? And I originally talked to this by a guy named Nick, who was the Hawthorne guy on site. He referenced something about the approved plan. So I call up somebody here. I finally get hold of engineering again and tell me about the approved plan. Well, we don't know either. Okay, we'll talk to Hawthorne about it. So, because they only meet with Hawthorne once every couple of weeks, and apparently some meeting room, and I followed up, and they said, yeah, well, we talked to them, and they got to talk to their people. And I don't know if their people had to talk to their people, but I still don't have an answer, and that's been a couple of months ago. Okay, and the fence is still there. And if it's not taken out, it's going to be the city's problem now, because then there's all kinds of bushes and stuff that are up there. They're really very unbecoming if this is supposed to be a fancy new, property. So I would think it would be in the city's best interest. Besides the fact I don't want a chain link fence on abutting all my property on this. It should have been taken out. To follow up on this, okay?
Time.
But I have more.
We'll try to take a look at that, and we do have coffee with the board on Saturday,
I'll be back.
so we can discuss things, yeah, okay.
If you'd like,
I think let him finish.
Yeah, we can, after the meeting.
you want, your
We
preference,
can
sir.
address it on the coffee if you want, or unless you want to talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there has been some follow-up.
What's that?
I believe we've had some follow-up and some meetings in person as well. But
Okay. President Casone, also Sue Musarino has something regarding, didn't say.
Sumu Sereno, 427 South Yale. Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a good evening. So I just wanted to kind of restate a couple of things, and then I'm making a couple of requests to the board. And I think it's important for us to kind of keep this in mind. Of the over 3,100 counties in the United States of America, Dupage County ranks number 64 in terms of overall wealth. We're in the top 2% of wealthiest counties in the entire country. And Villa Park is located next to Elmhurst, Oakbrook, Lombard. We're a hidden gem, and I think we all need to kind of remember that when we're looking at the village and what we're doing with the village. Now, recently I had emailed you folks about asking for considering 2 text amendments to codes, and these were kind of uncovered when we were going through the 27 West Park Boulevard, that proposal. And the first code amendment I think that should be considered is Appendix C, Section 7.2, minimum parking ratios. I know that York Assessors Township current data states that over 40% of the homes in Villa Park are 1,200 square feet or less. Now, that's the same size as the apartments at 27 West Park. So they're almost equivalent in size. And the village single home residents require, it has a parking ratio of 2. So there's really a loophole in the multifamily consideration for parking spaces. It's based upon 1 bedroom only. Now, there's a new trend. These apartments either have a den or a den and 2 full bathrooms. So I think that the codes should be altered to take those new trends into consideration and have something where it's got to be based upon either the total number of bedrooms and or full bathrooms, or maybe even size, because these apartments are, again, the same size as many of the homes in Villa Park, over 40%. Then the second amendment is, again, with the 27 West Park Boulevard. It brought to our attention that the site was only 0.4 acres, and it was just too dense for a really tall building, and a code that would be something along the lines of the height of the building would be based upon the lot size. So maybe it should be, if it's less than an acre in size, it should be 3 stories or less to accommodate for that space, because we need that space for many reasons. Again, I want to thank your time. I know that's a big job that you have, but I want us to really think about the next 100 years and every new development, just to use our discernment and to think carefully before we vote on new developments.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sue. Okay.
That's all.
That's all? Okay. I don't see anyone else here, so unless we have comments here. Village Clerk's report.
Yes, I have a couple things. First of all, just a reminder that the Kiwanis and Rotary Night Golf is this Wednesday and the 28th at Sugar Creek Golf Course. We got quite a few golfers set up, and looks like it's going to be a very nice evening. So that should be it's a great fundraiser for Kiwanis and Rotary. Also, I do want to announce that the candidate packets for the April 4th, 2023 Consolidated election are available now. I will have them in the manager's office in the morning for convenience. For those who do want to run for trustees, we have 3 trustee positions open for next year, next April. 3 trustees will be, terms will be expiring, and 3 from the library trustees as well. So this is for 2 different areas of candidates. And the petitions for circulation has begun. So as soon as you get whoever's interested, can start circulating their petitions for signatures. Just so you know, the filing with me in my office will be December 12th. So that's at 9 a.m. Monday, December 12th, until 5 p.m. on Monday, December 19th. And I'll keep you updated as we go along. This is just a heads up for those who might be interested and would be considering running for trustee. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, Village Trustees report. We'll start on my right. Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. Just really quick, the Villa Park Fire Department will be having its open house on Saturday, October 15th from noon to 3 p.m. Go check it out. They got some cool stuff in there. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Trustee Kozar.
Just wanted all those celebrating Rosh Hashanah, wishing a Shana Tova. So, Happy New Year.
For us. Okay, Trustee Salella.
Just one thing. Hosanna, can you repeat date in which the packet's availability starts? Has it started?
They're ready, yes.
Oh, they're ready now?
Yes, it started, yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Ready, sir.
Okay, Trustee Kumar.
Well, I'm just a couple things. I'm waiting to see who finds the oldest tree in Villa Park, avidly, and I'm looking forward to Halloween. I do every year, and I hope to see some of the trick-or-treaters at my house.
Trustee Corkery.
No report this week.
Okay. Trustee Murphy.
Yes, just congratulations and a shout out to, I believe it's District 45 that has the early childhood building that just opened. They had a very successful ribbon cutting, and it was really interesting after the referendum and the building of the development to be able to walk through. The information I was provided suggested that it's big enough to facilitate 150 children in the morning, and if they choose to do both a morning and an afternoon session, it would be a total of 300 children. So we're very excited, and they were so pleased and proud, and it was a wonderful event.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, I just got a couple things. As I mentioned earlier, Coffee with the Board will be this Saturday, October 1st, from at 9 o'clock up here. So if anyone is interested, as you all know, it's kind of a laid-back meeting. You can bring whatever issues you want. The Villa Avenue Business District will have their trick-or-treating on Saturday, October 29th, I believe, from 1 to 3, and then there'll be costume judging contest at Cortese Park afterwards, and that's always a good time. Kids have a great time with that. And you mentioned the golf outing, and that's all I have. We'll go to the village manager's report.
Great. I have actually 4 items, but or 5 items, but they're pretty quick. First, I want to introduce you to Mark McLaughlin. If you want to, he is our new community development director as of today. So he's the new Ellen.
We'll be in touch.
Sorry about that, Mark. No. The second thing I wanted to bring up is, you guys know, we are unfortunately going to be looking to hire a new fire chief. Unfortunate from my perspective, well earned by Chief Rakosnik. So we're going to be issuing a call for applicants for the fire chief position. Most of you know Chief Rakosnik lives close in Lombard and is close to make many of the department fire calls during the off hours, in addition to the calls that he makes while he's in the station. And having senior leadership at active fire suppression calls is preferred for best outcomes. The village manager, I do not appoint the deputy fire chief. That comes through a test. And so the village wants to develop any kind of policy that will assure upper level leadership at future fire calls. Now is the time to do so. The village could draft an ordinance establishing a law residency requirement, and I forwarded, I believe, the study that we requested from DMMC, and they got that done very quickly. An ordinance is one way to proceed. The village could direct the manager to develop a policy to be adopted by formal resolution, or the manager could simply conduct the search with language that strongly encourages a successful candidate to maintain a residence within a certain distance of the village corporate limits. And I've been looking at different possibilities, whether it's within 20 miles of City Hall, the corporate limits, within Dupage County, or somewhere, even if we put a 5 mile outside the village corporate limits, that's still a pretty broad geographic area, and in some of those places it'd still be, a half an hour to the village. The other side of that is, the more restrictive the restriction, the more likely it will eliminate candidates who would be otherwise a good leader. So it's a balancing act. A requirement based on the number of calls and community events in which the new city participates. If you set the standard of, you have to make so many calls and be participating in certain events, as one of the villages did, it's only, you can only assess that retroactively. I mean, everyone's going to, if you make that a requirement during interviews, it's easier to say you're going to do that and say you're going to get back into the village if you're outside the village limits than set a boundary, because that's a hard and fast rule that you can look at on the way in. So I looked at a bunch of different possibilities. What my recommendation is not to make it a board action, but the village manager, when we issue the advertisement for the position of fire chief of Villa Park, just say that we have a strong preference for a fire chief who lives within 5 miles of the boundaries of Dupage County. Moreover, there will be an expectation for the successful candidate to be present at major structure fires and to participate in some village events to maintain the presence of the department in the village. Chief Kosnick has created a problem for the next guy along by creating such a high standard, but I think it's a standard we can find somebody to fill. And so that is the direction I'd like to head, and we can discuss this now, or you can send me your input on it. But that is the direction that I would like to proceed. And I'm open. I've got a couple of other items, but I mean, I'd be interested in getting feedback from the board on what you guys see, if that's an acceptable way to move forward.
You're talking 5 miles within corporate limits, not DuPage County.
No, I think I want to make it a pretty broad. You can give me a different direction, but that's a pretty broad distance.
Talking about all the county DuPage and then plus 5 miles.
Yes, yes.
Trustee Kumar.
I think at least they should be in DuPage County. This is my personal opinion. I mean, I think that's a pretty broad range to begin with. That's gonna, I mean, DuPage County's big.
It is big.
Yeah, it could take you 20 minutes to get here, you know.
And it's
It could take, from Naperville to here sometimes can take an hour and a half. So it's a lot.
Trustee Solella.
What is the policy for our police chief? Do we have that type of requirement instilled into that position?
Sir, if I may, when I came on board, it was to either be within the corporate limits or in adjoining town to the corporate limits.
But that was a hiring decision
It was a hiring decision at the time.
Yeah. We can go by that standard too, if you'd like.
Trustee Kozar.
I would like to see 5 or 10 miles as a radius around Villa Park, as opposed to DuPage County. And I'd also like to, not just for the fire department, but this goes for all our departments, I'd like to put a path of promotion in, or a pathway so that those who work in the departments currently can be retained and know that they have a mechanism, a way to grow in their career and start perhaps at, the lowest entry-level position in any of our departments, and know that at some point they could lead that department. So I would like to give special weight to anybody, in this specific case, anybody who is an existing member of our fire department, to try to bring them up through the ranks and keep all their institutional knowledge that they have from working in Villa Park and knowing the community, and trying to keep that in our community as best that we can. So if we have to give certain allowances or extra training or something like that, whatever we can do to try to keep our people here who are doing a great job, let's try to do that. And that goes for everything, but in this case, let's look at the fire department, perhaps work with the chief and get some suggestions of how perhaps we could do that in this particular case.
So I appreciate those comments. I think that I kind of like, if you guys are interested in keeping the distance closer, it seems like it would make most sense to have the same standard when we went out for the police chief, and that gives us a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if that's more or less than, or the 5 miles, whichever is less restrictive. I want to make sure that we have a good range for candidates, and those two, in some ways, are mutually exclusive. There are some people who are candidates who could be internal candidates who wouldn't make the second one of those criteria. The other thing I would like to say is I like the input. It's always good to know that we're on the same page. At the end of the day, My goal is to create an organization exactly what you're talking. That's what I talked about when I was getting here. I think that we have candidates that are viable within the village, but I mean that's come to the actually we're going to start doing our leadership book club on Friday and working on that on the grow from within. In terms of I prefer to wait until we make that into a policy so we get ideally you create the perfect environment and then you grow through there. I'm not saying we don't have a great staff now, but I think that's something that I'd like to build before I make that promise. Does that make sense? So, I'd love to hire from a great culture, and I think we're getting there. But I don't know.
But everybody still has to take the exam, right, whether they're internal or external?
Right, you can't tell them.
There's not an exam for fire chief.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, hiring from within is always preferable. However, in a chief position, sometimes the better person is going to be from outside. So, but, yeah, definitely give a little weight to employees here.
Oh,
Let's go there.
Absolutely.
So I think if we're putting a contingency in there about where you live, I think it should be worded as preferred versus mandatory.
Yeah.
And that gives you as the manager some flexibility there.
I appreciate that. That's kind of what yes, that's exactly
And then
what
I
I'm
don't
looking
think it would exclude, by that term, it wouldn't exclude anybody that's an existing employee, even if they live outside that 5 or 10, because you weigh all considerations at that point.
It's exactly, yes. I think that's something to build towards, and I think there is ways to try and, we can talk philosophically later, but there are some things I think we can do to encourage, building that culture from within, where we do have our people who know the Villa Park way of doing things, and that we've built even more excellence into the culture. And then the other, encouraging, people to be available. Even Mike has moved much closer than he was before, and it's good to have people who can get to whatever it is going on in town, and making sure that there's leadership in any department, public works, fire, police, that can help us in case there's a severe storm. We make sure we can get people here. So I think there are advantages to it. But when you make it a hard and fast rule, you sometimes cut your own.
And my last point is, I understand that you would like to make the system and the environment as good as it can be to promote from within. But I would encourage you not to wait for that perfect system or perfect environment, and maybe work along those lines of promoting from within now, and continue to improve rather than waiting for the perfect environment.
I think in this, we'll never have a perfect environment, but I think in this current case that there will be applicants, and I think there will be, I'm trying to foresee the future. I don't know, I could say something and see what the look on Chief Verkosnik's face is, but I think there are possibilities there. Great. And I had very informal discussion with some of the membership about that, and that's definitely the way I want to go. So I appreciate that.
Great, thank you.
Trustee Kumar.
I would suggest the wording be consistent, and not change it, which you did with the police chief, just for consistency across the board. So if they said, adjoining counties there, I agree that it should be similar.
Adjoining villages.
Villages, yeah. That it should be similar.
Okay.
And preferred still, but just, that's the way the wording should be.
Okay, and we'll get out a draft in the next. I know the rest of the ad is pretty much ready to go. So, and I'm also going to talk to the police and fire board tomorrow about this. So.
Okay, anything else?
All right, thank you for. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I would like to start making the weekly report. I know that at least Trustee Kozar, and I think maybe others of you are sharing this information with the public. I'd like to make a version that is public every week, because I think that's valuable. I know you've gotten a lot of compliments for doing that. I think that it, for those people who are interested in that level of detail of our government, that we should encourage that. And I think that's, and I've been writing, since I got here, I've been writing my report, the manager's report, to a broader audience, and I think you guys have recognized that, and I appreciate that ability to get a message out to a broader audience. So I don't see that there'd be any objection to that, but I'll warn my staff tomorrow that would be the direction. There will be a chance to, and they also can send us stuff that, well, if it's, a closed record, will make that obvious to you. And then there are some stuff that's in development that might not be ready, that might not just be shareable, but not closed record. But we'd like to make a lot of that directly available to the public. So I think that would be and I think that would continue to go towards that atmosphere of transparency and sharing what we're doing, which might reduce some of the phone calls that come in about what are we doing. So, Summerfest, we received a notice of cease and desist from Milwaukee Summerfest, so we'll be altering the name of Summerfest next year, but it will be still just as much fun. And I think Greg has come up with the Villa Park Summer Festival.
Right.
So
2000 and whatever.
yes, 2000, yes, and followed by the number. And the word evol, the part evol might be not quite as big as the word summer and fest, but there'll be two separate words. Include the name Villa Park, and we've asked to make sure that's going to we believe that would avoid any collision with the registered trademark by the Milwaukee Summerfest. So no intention to step on anyone's toe. And finally, the committee of the whole meeting next week, the LRS, I think I already mentioned this to you, cannot make it, and they've asked to be added to the November committee of the whole report, which might make, we have two rather large topics, so there's a chance that we may not make a 7 o'clock deadline. The other one is the recreation center update that you guys had asked for. So at the next meeting, the Environmental Concerns Committee, which had been wanting to come to it was going to make a presentation and talk about some options so we can go towards putting some stuff towards an actual plan. Yes.
On that meeting, I think we should finish up our discussion that we had with PNC. We do
Okay.
have to address that and finish up and write that up at one point. They've been waiting for a while, so we should finish that discussion.
That was something I was going to suggest as an addition. And that's it. Those are my, that's my village manager's report for September 26th.
Thank you. Okay, item 13, executive session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C2 regarding collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representative, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, and C11 regarding litigation when action against, affecting, or on behalf of the village has been filed and is pending before a court, or when the village finds that an action is probable or imminent. Do we have a motion on going to executive session? Trustee Kumar?
I will make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Corkery? Okay, Clerk Konecki?
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Murphy,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
Trustee Salella,
Yes.
Trustee Corkery.
Yes.
President Cassell.
Yes. And we will adjourn our meeting out of executive session, so we will see everybody back here on October 10th, and we'll see you then.